Okay, so is everybody aware that alcohol is measured in units? Has everybody heard that term before? Okay, great. So a unit is 8 grams of alcohol. Doesn't mean anything really, does it? But when units were first devised, they fit very, very nicely into the drinks that were available on the market at that time. So they became quite a simple and easy way of people being able to work out how much alcohol they could drink. The basis of working out your units is knowing the strength and the size of the drink that you're drinking. So the strength, if you look on bottles or cans, somewhere on there you should be able to find a percentage, and that is the ABV, the alcohol by volume, and that relates to how much alcohol is present in a litre of that drink. Okay, so fact fans, if you drink a litre of something, whatever the ABV of that drink is, that's how many units you've drank as well. Okay, so the strength is important, but also the other thing that's important is knowing how much you've had. And a way of working out units, if you haven't got any other information available, if you know those two things and you multiply them together and divide that by 1,000, you get your units. So I don't know in what kind of situation you might be where you need to make that calculation suddenly, but please be free to take it away with you as a useful piece of learning. So, when units were first brought about, as I said, the alcohol industry was a lot less complicated as a place. So actually, at the time, we were all taught what is now referred to as the standards. And that was that a unit of alcohol is the amount of alcohol that can be found in a pint of bitter lager or cider, so a half a pint of bitter lager or cider, a small 125ml glass of wine, a shot, if it's 25ml of a spirit, or a 50ml double of a 45 wine or a liqueur. Okay, do people think that these still might be true today? Any ideas?
Yeah.
Okay, some yeses, some no's. Good. Yeah, both are true because some things have stayed constant, but what's happened since kind of the 70s, 80s when this was first brought in is the alcohol industry has exploded. So now you get drinks in every shape, size and flavour that you can imagine. So what used to be quite a simple process of working out units has now become a lot more complicated. But the keys are still, if you know your strength and then you know the size of the drink that you're drinking, you can work out your units. And actually, these standards are a useful base point from where to go from. So if we use the first one as an example, if we take lager, so half pint of lager, it says there, is 1 unit. But this is very important here. What they're talking about is lager at 3.5 to 4% ABV. Is that a normal strength lager?
Yeah.
So even what you call your normal strength lagers these days, your Fosters, your Carlings, are actually a little bit more than that, which means they're not 2 units a pint, they're more like 2 1/4 units a pint. But then of course you get your different kinds of drinks of the same type. So these days you also get your premium brands. So you get brands like Stella, Kronenberg, Rolsch, Staropramen, and they're a bit stronger. Anybody know what kind of ABV they are?
5 and a bit.
Yeah, 5 and a bit. We've got an expert in the room. So yeah, as a general rule of thumb, they have jumped a bit further. 1.5 units per half pint or 3 units a pint. So you can see there's a big jump. So as the strength goes up, the units go up. The one that I think stumps a lot of us is this one with wine. Well, back in the 70s, 80s when units came in, we were obviously all drinking lots of horrible sweet German wine that's not very nice at 8 to 9% ABV. In reality, the wine we drink today is a lot stronger. But not only that, back when units were devised, we were drinking it by the thimbleful apparently, about this size, whereas in reality, we drink big vats of the stuff. So actually, the golden rule, if the strength and or the quantity increases, the number of units increase. So 175ml, which is a regular glass of wine these days, if you measure it, of 12% wine, which is a lot stronger, is actually 2+ units. So this is to show you how units increase. So what I've handed out to all of you is a sheet. I don't feel like I'm cheating because it is a sheet that I designed and I use at work. So, but it is for you to take away and look at, which is you can turn your pages over. So I'll give you this. And it lists for you all different kinds of alcoholic drinks, normal, premium and super strength, because some of you might be into your Frosty Jacks and your White Lightnings, I don't know. So So, and you've got the idea of the units. The other thing I've given you as well is a sheet that tells you, because one thing I'd like you to do with this information in your head if you've got time, is to think about, oh, could I work out how many units I drank last night, for example, or the last time you had a drink? And then see if it relates in any way, shape or form to the national government recommended safe drinking limits. Does anybody know what they are?
20 up, is it?
Oh, nearly. Yeah, go on, Laura.
Ladies, it's 2 to 3 units, and men a day, and men it's 3 to 4 units.
Yeah, so that does equate to about 21 units a week for a man and 14 for a woman. But the problem is with that, when that was brought out as a weekly unit, what we tend to do as Brits, we work hard and we play hard. So at weekends, everyone was being good all week and then drinking all their units in one go at the weekend. And that is actually the most dangerous way to drink. That's binging, as I'm sure you're all aware, just drinking lots of alcohol in one go. And a binge, quite surprisingly, can be as little, medically, as to the damage it can do, from as little as 6 units in one go for a woman and 8 units in one go for a man. So that's what, a couple of pints and a bit for a man and a glass of wine for a woman. It's a large one. Yeah, so as you can see, it's not that, you know, a lot of us binge maybe every time we drink. According to the government, we're also supposed to eat 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. So it's another guideline, but it can be useful to look at how your unit intake compares to the government guidelines. The other thing is, of course, when we drink at home, we don't measure our drinks, do we? A lot of us don't anyway, we don't have measures or optics. So what can be useful to think about is that we often underestimate what we pour as well when we're at home. So that's why with you wine drinkers, it might be useful to know that a 12% bottle of wine is about 9 units. So working out how many or how much of that bottle you've had might be easier than trying to work out the size of the glass that you're drinking. Equally with spirits as well. And spirits have actually gone up in size as we come into line with Europe. So they're now more likely to be 35 ml as a single. So that'd be 1.5 units, not 1 unit. And 70 ml as a double sherry or whatever, which again would be 1.5, not 1 unit. Has anybody got any questions?
How long does each unit take to process 85?
Oh, okay. That's a whole other lesson. But funnily enough, absorption elimination, it takes an hour. But that's once it's gone to our liver. The problem is that getting it into our liver, absorbing it, can take anything from 30 minutes to 3 hours for every unit and changes all the time. So each and every one of you will absorb at different rates, at different times of the day, on different days, depending on all sorts of things. So although we know how your liver works, and it works constantly, we have no idea how long it gets there. But see me later and I'll give you a method. Is that right? We need to know that.
What's the limit for driving then?
They can't give you it in units for this very reason, because the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream will change all the time.
Not how you drive.
No, you're absolutely right, because the rate at which you absorb changes all the time. So you know, no 2 days are the same. So different amounts of alcohol can send you over the limit at different times. And the legal limit is not a limit of safety, it's just a number plucked out of the air. The minute you've had a unit or less, you are already alcohol impaired, which means you're more likely to have an accident. By the time you reach the legal limit, you're already 5 times more likely to have an accident. Brilliant. Is that okay? Yeah? Great, thank you.